But in fact, we're going to move past the first and have a look at the BCD group rating 72 over 2100 with Stephen James 350 and 135 as favourite. Joe's Legacy $4, 460, 160 Savapack. Those three dominating betting here, Stephen, is that the case?
Absolutely, Aidan. We're looking for a lead and they've given one us punters this morning around Stephen James, who opened $3.90, got as high as $4.20 and shared that top line with Joe's Legacy this morning. Joe's Legacy's come into $4, but there's been a decent push on Stephen James in the last probably hour and a half, 2 hours, now to make it a $3.50 dominant favourite. Savapack solid in that third line of betting at $4.60. Katy Perry stepping up in grey, punters a bit concerned around there, 5 out to 5.50. And Repo's Son has had a few friends as well, 8 into 7. But best lead in a pretty competitive race, even though it's only 8 going round, is Stephen James at a $3.50 price.
Yeah, exactly. Back to a track where he did contest a Waikato Guineas as well. Let's have a look at the speed map here. Stephen James gets to the front with Renee and Lady Charbel coming across from him behind. Brendan, how did you see the second?
Yeah, look, it's a niggly sort of race. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe's Legacy can actually put himself in the race here today. We've seen him race in a forward position in the past. I really do like his run here now. This is the effort, obviously, where we see Falah, who runs 7th, who's in the Metropolitan. Now, this was dominated up front. First and second, they lead a trail. Joe's Legacy ends up being the fastest last 600 in this race, and he takes a long time to sort of clear a pocket, get himself into some clear air, and he does all his best work late on the line here to Joe's Legacy. So it's actually a very encouraging run from where he was. It doesn't look that great on paper when you see he's run 6, but with how that race was run, that was a very good run to be able to peel off the fastest last 600 of the race. So I feel as though if he can get himself in a forward position here today, he can show some of his strong 3-year-old form from last season. As we know, he was good enough to be placed behind Sheriff in a Manawa 2 Classic. I'm happy to go with him today in Joe's Legacy in front of Stephen James, who just looks likely a horse who will appreciate going back to Te Rapa, as you pointed out, a horse who did win a Waikato Guineas did compete in a Waikato Guineas as a 3-year-old and has been very impressive with what he's done in his back-to-back victories.
Yeah, really, it is a good race to show, especially when seeing Fila as a New Zealand Cup favourite. Brendan, we're doing selected races from Te Rapa, but I'm really keen to get your thoughts, just if we can, without a market. Probably a 165 favourite in the first. What are your thoughts there?
Oh, look, I think it's the best way to probably start the betting here this afternoon. Aidan, a horse who's really impressed in 2 trials. I like the way the horse was able to run second in the first up trial, Proper Beal. That was from an outside gate and was making really good ground in a short course race of only 600 metres at the trials. And then following that has been able to draw an inside gate, sit on speed and get away by a nice little margin. There's some nice talent there, beautifully bred, and I thought that was certainly the best way to go in the first race, Aidan, is if you look to try and centre your quaddies and your multi-bets around Proper Beal in the first.
Yeah, Stephen, can we just grab a quick word from you? 165, has there been sort of decent money, or is it just you guys sort of making sure you're not sort of having a big liability on this horse?
They're coming, Aidan. We've just accepted a $5,000 bet on Proper Beal at $1.65. Pretty comfortable at that line currently. I don't think she's going to start any higher, saying that, at 1.65. Just crunching a few numbers. Around about 890 multis in progress on Proper Beal. I think that will climb well over 1,500 when we come around to the first race. The next best is Tennessee Rock at 21. I should mention there is a bit of specking around Ranger. Debbie Sweeney does the training here on Ranger. It's had a couple of nice trials. Just keep an eye on that current price. It's trading at $7, but all in all, it's about 1 horse in the first, Proper Beal.
Okay, let's get you back to the script, race 5. The listed Legacy Lodge Sprint is the feature here, and the favourite is Santa Monica, ahead of Untamed Diamond, indecision as well. Stephen, it's not an easy sort of race to get your head around. How did you price it?
We made it very competitive, and it's reflected on our opening lines, and the way the trading has developed in the last 2 to 3 days has been plenty of money on 4 or 5 runners. You can really just rule out the 2 horses and Lucia and Rio in alliance with me, who have been friendless, but outside those 2 there's been speccing for the other 6 runners. Santa Monica, that's the best lead I can give into terms of a move inwards. $4.20 now to $4, sits at that top line of betting where it did share with Untamed Diamond for a majority of the week. I think Punters, being the fact that it's back to handicap conditions, that's pushed them towards Santa Monica. A little bit of specking around Yearn, even though dropping back in trip at $5.50 off a peak of $6, but well specced. But best back and best lead Santa Monica in front of Yearn in a very, very competitive listed 1200.
Yeah, might be tactical as well. Indecision, one of those on-speed horses, as we'll see from our speed map. Also, Lucian Rio and Untamed Diamond pressing forward. How do you see the feature, Brendan?
Yeah, I think it's a key factor that Stephen spoke about in that weight swing towards Santa Monica when these two horses, when you can consider Untamed Diamond, Indecision, and also Santa Monica, at weight for age level, we're all on 57 kilos, and it's a big swing in favour of Santa Monica this afternoon. This is a massive run. This horse is back last on the point at the bend here at Rotorua. I mean, there's a lot of horses who come home in under 34 seconds here, but this horse is the fastest last 600 in the race in 33.48. She is very good here, considering leader wins, outside leader nearly wins and runs second by the barest of margins. You've also got Julius, who was in that race, and Volpe Veloce. And then smoking home down the outside is Santa Monica. That's a big run from a horse that is really in search of some black type, and I really do think she can get it here today. I like her chances, Santa Monica. I'm happy to be with her, and there's that little move, as Stephen pointed out, around the price from $4.20 into $4. I marked her on top, and I've also marked her as my best of the day here, Santa Monica, in front of the 3 in Yearn, who was massive when last presented, Inside Gate, then Indecision, who just narrowly missed out in the Swainest there when finishing in a second position, and Untamed Diamond, who won this race last year.
Yeah, exactly. 7 of the 8 runners are mares, and the only boy is a one-win horse, so it should be a mares trifecta there. Race 7. Next race we look at is the Signature Homes, rating 65, where Rondinella reappears, 4 and 175. She showed any amount of ability last preparation. And Stephen, is it a case of respect here, or is there money coming?
We're in no man's land with Rondinella's opening line. If she was cold and she needed the run, she could drift to close to $6, but if the word was out that she's ready to resume, I wouldn't be surprised if she closed under 3. So we're hovering around that $4 at the moment. There's enough money to suggest that she's forward enough. Maybe Brendan can get one of the trainers, Roger James or Robert Welford, to come on, or Wellwood to come on and maybe give us a guide on Rondinella. 3 out of her 4 ratings to date would easily win this race, so she is a watch horse, and like I mentioned, she is the most popular runner, but again, we're just in no man's land of where that price is going to finish up on number 8. A little bit of specking around the Magnate at $10, 11 into 10 the stablemate. Matazulam, who's always been performing at this kind of level, will push forward well spec, 12 into 11, but yeah, I think we'll have to touch on this race later on this afternoon. Maybe we can get a better lie, Brendan, but at this stage, we're Rondinella fairly safe at $4.
Yeah, look, I think if Rondinella is anywhere near ready, she'll blow this field away. She is highly talented. She's a horse who impressed when she did win her maiden out of Tauranga. You've only got to go through all her runs, what she did on a Twilight meeting where she flew home from the back of the field, and really, first of all, we were able to see just how good she was on that occasion, and then what we heard from Roger James as well, just about the thought he has for this horse. So, yeah, her trial, it was fairly quiet, wasn't it, recently? She's come back from a really bad injury, so she's a horse that could be just a little bit of a watch at the same time with her inside draw. She doesn't possess a lot of early get-go, so where she ends up in the run as well could be a little bit of an issue. But yeah, we'll look to try and catch up with someone associated to the stable leading into the race. There's a couple of horses here that do represent at nice value. You've got the likes of Tokyo Lil and No Finer Pins. I thought they were nice chances in this race. Let's go to Tokyo Lil. This is a race where a lot happened here down the straight. Tokyo Lil was able to finally clear a pocket and pierce her way between 2 runners, and of course on the outside there in the black and white is Opie Bosson, who did cop a suspension following this race as well. But once she pierces through, and she probably had a little bit more as well before she got held up and then was able to come punching through the gap, I thought she was very good here. So she gets down to 53.5 kilograms, does Tokyo Lil, runner number 12. I'm happy to have something on this horse. And I'm also happy to have something on No Finer Pins. I've been really taken by this horse in her resumption in her 2 runs, the daughter of Pins, when finishing 2nd and 4th. I thought both of those horses were backable late, and you're shopping around that $12 to $13 mark. I was happy to be backing both of those in a strategy bet.
Yeah, I understand that completely too, Brendan. Let's move you on to the last. And this one, the Distinction Hamilton Hotel over the 1200 to finish off, rating 72. Where Meteoric Lass, unbeaten in 2, 380, 155. It's not a bad little field this though to finish, Stephen. Money about 380?
Your most popular runner, always respect the unbeaten galloper, 2 from 2. Meteoric Lass, 380 off a peak of $5. Been a couple of scratchings in this particular race. Grand Mason, well supported, the CD Raider, 10 into 6. A little bit misleading there with the deductions, but $7 this morning, so a decent push to get it into $6. Short Fuse has been well supported during the week. The money's just slightly dried up this morning, 7 into $6.50. It's Destiny's Child. We accepted a $500 bet at 10s, now trading at 8s. Tell you what, at $10, rock solid. If the race was to jump right now, it'd be a losing result. Outside that, it's been quite quiet. So Meteoric Lass, well supported at $3.80 in front of Grand Mason. Second best back runner and a bit of specking around Short Fuse. It's Destiny's Child with that heavy $500 bet at 10s.
You'd expect the Te Akau runners to get forward in this, Brendan, as well, Meteoric Lass, and also Pacific Coast. How'd you see it?
Yeah, look, I think Meteoric Lass is a really interesting runner in this race, and look, the money's there. It's a horse who I thought was very good at Taupo last time to the races and beating home a fairly well-regarded horse out of the stable as well in motivation. But she looks like she's got plenty about her, the daughter of Stratum and Meteoric Lass. Happy to be with her. Look, could see maybe Emma Star push forward. We've seen Emma Star win at this venue by going forward as well. Florence Jean, well, they've made a couple of gear adjustments with Florence Jean as well. We know when she's at her best, she could be competitive here. Taiki Yanagita on 3 kilos off. They've taken those blinkers off around Florence Jean. But in the end, I went with the 14 on top in Meteoric Lass. Grand Mason, just like the way that he's started to put it together now. He's maybe just worked the caper out. Here's this horse in front of the 3 and the 10. 14, 6, 3 and 10. Let's go to best bet value and a strategy now for our race betting here out of Te Rapa. I'm going to make Santa Monica my best bet in race number 5. I thought this horse drops beautifully down into the weights against key rivals that she was up against last start when she was smoking home in the Swainess. I thought Tokyo Lil was a value chance. Probably put no finer pins into that same bracket out of the same race. Bets today, I'll go with Joe's Legacy in race 2, 30 to win Santa Monica, and then in race number 7, we'll play both the 12 and the 13. They're both attractive each way prices, 10 each way on both of those horses. We kick it off for the 2-year-olds here, Aidan, race number 1 on the program, set down and start at 20 minutes past 12.